And we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am one of your co-hosts, Blake Ruffino. Alongside me is my counterpart, Joe DeLeone. Good evening, good sir. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. We have weekday football coming on later today after we finish the show. We've got, I had it just pulled up a second ago. It's
the action.
It's CUSA football. We've got CUSA action, if that's what we're going to call it. But there's football on today. It feels weird it being a Wednesday, and I think it's now 49 straight days after this of there not being a football game on TV. It's the best time of the year.
They're not being a football game on TV is what you mean.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Double negative.
Not being a football game on TV. I'm with you. I got to tell you something, though. This is my favorite part of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I will not be watching CUSA. Okay. Maybe I might entertain it here and there and look a little bit here and there. MLB baseball's on, man. Playoffs. The playoffs.
Well, your team's not even in it.
And neither is yours.
I'm a Phillies fan. What are you talking about? Look at the hat right.
Oh, yeah.
Right
I forgot about that.
Well, you know what? The can of beans.
You know what? They suck.
What?
They're not going to win anything.
They won yesterday. I've been watching. I've been paying attention. I just would rather watch football.
I mean, I would rather watch football too, but I'm not going to watch two tampons running into one another. You know, the next one at the CUSA.
New Mexico State is a powerhouse, and Jacksonville State is on the rise. So put some respect on those programs, man.
The only thing on the rise is never mind. I can't say
All right. It's a Wednesday.
This is a Wednesday. It's a family show. I can't.
No, it's not.
I can't do that. But normally, you know, there's things that you build houses with wood, and sometimes you like to do it in the morning. That's all I'm going to say. The only thing on the rise. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. Georgia and Kentucky square off. Joe, I think that this is the most non-talked about game of the weekend. I really do. I don't think people are giving Kentucky a chance, and a lot of people believe. I feel like they think that Georgia is just a joke.
Yeah, there has been a lot of discounting for Georgia this year, and I think that we're a little too high after that Kentucky win over a very mid-Florida team that we're going to go as far as to say that they're going to provide a challenge for Georgia. Game could be close, but and we'll get to it. That might be a real get-right game for Georgia to impress against a ranked team.
Well, not only that, I've heard people like criticizing Carson Beck very harshly.
I mean, you're not watching the games if you're saying that. You're just looking at the stats.
Right. It's because he doesn't have the touchdown passes. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. He's got a leg tattoo. He's got a Mike Glennon-sized neck. My man's got a neck on him, bro.
He's got no juice on Snapchat either.
I mean, so how much juice do you really have to have if you're the starting quarterback for Georgia?
Well, you don't, but his comments are almost a detraction. Like they were so bad they actually hurt his chances, which is that's the problem.
Morning wood, right? Like he was, when I read that Snapchat from Carson Beck, you know what the first thing I thought about was?
What?
Is the Drake song when he says, "But I'm still staring at them titties, though."
Yeah, I don't think that Carson Beck has as much juice as Drake. So it's a little different.
Drake literally says he wants you to sit on his face. That's not juice. Joe, have you told someone that you want them to sit on your face before?
I have not.
I don't believe you.
I would. Okay, I wouldn't say that to somebody like off just like a brief interaction.
Oh, my goodness. This show is taking a turn for the worse. We will talk about Kentucky and Georgia, Texas A&M and Bama. Joe, I don't want to do this. I don't feel good about trusting Jimbo, but I don't feel good about Bama either. I kind of feel like it's the I hate to throw politics into this, but you know how people say that, like I heard Dave Chappelle one time say that he was picking between the lesser of two evils. I feel like I'm picking between the lesser of two people that I trust the most. I just trust A&M a little bit more. I trust Max Johnson just a little bit more.
Well, for me, it's one of those situations where I trust Nick Saban, but
you don't trust his quarterback and his offensive line, though.
Bingo. That's exactly why I'm not picking them to win.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of picks, we got picks today, too.
We do.
It's interesting. Somebody's catching up to you.
You cheated. You've been cheating. You switched your pick for the Florida game late. You're making all these late changes.
I've made one late change.
I know.
Only one. And I told you it was going to happen.
Cheating somehow. You're somehow cheating.
Me and my son did a video and sent it to you.
Outside of that one, I can't pinpoint what the cheating is, but there is something.
No, it's just because when Daddy gets into the season and he sees what he sees, he knows what he knows.
You've had a couple hot weeks. I've been steady, been very steady.
Yeah, 6-2 last week for the big guy. 6-2.
It won't last. It won't last very long.
Oh, we're going 6-2 again. I can feel it in my bones.
No shot.
Okay, we'll see. Also, outside of Kentucky and Georgia, A&M, and Bama, Joe, a redemption game of sorts, for a redemption game for one team, and a look at us. I don't want to say if Missouri beats LSU, it's like, hey, we've made it. But if they start the season 6-0, we got to really start having the conversation about Eli Drinkwitz and his Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, he's very underrated head coach, and everyone really looked past him and Brady Cook, I being one of those people. I knew that there was the groundwork for the recruiting to happen because they're in a good region where there's a lot of really good football players. To keep them in state is significant. I really think that Drink is going to get this team right. It seems like he's been doing a really great job over the past couple of seasons that nobody's given him credit for.
Yeah, and you know what else, too? People used to make fun of Drinkwitz for him celebrating over the 3 stars that he got. Well, look at the wide receiver room he has. Nobody's saying anything to him now.
They had Lovett last year who left.
And they had Lovett last year that left. That's right. So, and look, a lot of people, yourself included, poo-pooed on my man Cook. I tried to tell you, don't do it.
Cook's cooking.
He is cooking that. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll give our picks here at the end of the show. Joe, I just got to mention one thing before we get to our good friends over at betonline.ag. Mm-hmm. I told you Neil Brown was coming. I told you, do not sleep on the Mountaineers.
What? Okay, don't. I don't think the word West Virginia has come out of your mouth once since we started doing this show. So I don't want to hear you suddenly in on the Neil Brown train. Don't. But I will say, though, they have a stupidly easy schedule the remainder of the way. They actually could.
Could
be in the Big 12 championship game.
They couldn't make it to the Big 12 championship game. That would be nuts. But here's the thing. We did talk about it because I'm going to tell you the conversation that we had on air that would make you remember. Remember that I said West Virginia was the incest capital of the world? Remember that?
I don't remember that. We say a lot of things similar.
Look it up on Google. It will be purple because then you typed in something such as what state in what state in the USA has the most incest. I told you that the Neil Brown Mountaineers were coming.
I don't remember that.
Funny how you remember the takes that you get right, but when Daddy gets one right, you never remember.
Yeah, because they're usually for lesser important things.
True. Okay, I can't even debate that. True. All right. We got a lot to get into. So let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag. Before we do that, everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share to all those groups, share to all of those social media pages. Wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. If you're watching us on Fubo TV, welcome. Let's talk about our good friends at BetOnline. What game we going to first?
Bama A&M.
Bama A&M, then Kentucky and Georgia. Let's talk about it. It's an SEC show. You know I love it. Joe hates it. We do that. Next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events. with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. Oh, no.
We're back.
I completely missed it on that one.
I think that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign.
Maybe it is. Maybe I will take Oklahoma and the 6.5, which I think that I did. I did buy a 0.5 point, by the way. I bought that
bet. Is that what the spread is? It's 6.5?
6.5.
Oh my God. So many people are betting on Texas. That's insane.
Yeah, but generally when the public bets one way this heavily, the team that they bet against wins.
It's free money.
It's free money. I saw this. I know that this is LSU generated, but we have Roderick in here. Greg Brooks, safety for LSU, was diagnosed with brain cancer. The tumor did come back positive for a very rare form of cancer. From everybody at the Ruffino and Joe show, I'm sure, Joe, I know that you liked and retweeted Brian Kelly's tweet on it. Man, look. I mean, that is just an unreal story. Joe, he was out there making tackles and breaking up passes against Florida State 5 weeks ago, man.
Yeah.
This is insane. So we pray for the Brooks family. I know that LSU sent out a link. This is a very, expensive process and a lot of things. The family needs help with a lot of things going on. So LSU tweeted out the link if you can help. I know that the Brooks family would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Let's talk a little A&M and Alabama. Joe, I told you just a minute ago, I feel like I'm picking between two teams here that I don't trust. It's like having two side pieces and girls and trying to figure out which one is more loyal. Neither one of them are loyal because they were with you when you were cheating. The bottom line here is this. I don't think that here's what I just continue to feel in my gut. I don't think Jimbo's getting enough credit. I really don't. People watch them lose to Miami and say, oh, typical Jimbo. It wasn't typical Jimbo. Everything about that game was not typical Jimbo. Great defensive backs, great defensive play, offense highly anemic. The offense was electric against Miami, who, by the way, might be just a really, really freaking good team, and they've just continued to win. The front seven for A&M, arguably, I would entertain of someone making the argument is the best in the SEC. Miami only rushed for 77 yards. And look, Joe, that was back-to-back weeks that Auburn took a team that was in the top 20 or should have been in the top 20. They gave A&M everything they wanted, and then the following week, they played Georgia at home and gave Georgia everything that they wanted and more. Auburn is a really good defensive team. I don't trust Bama in anything that they're doing offensively. There's not one area that I say I really trust this. Maybe Jason McClellan, but I don't think that they're going to be able to run the football this week on A&M.
Alabama is quite possibly one of the most lopsided teams in the country because defensively they are phenomenal. Their secondary has been amazing. Quilly McKinstry and Terrion Arnold are fantastic corners. They have one of the most disruptive front sevens alongside Texas A&M's in the country. And then statistically, defensively, they're way up there in the top of every single category. But offensively, man, they are just impossibly frustrating to watch. I think last week they tried to establish a new identity, which is the one that we've been yelling about on this show a million times over, which is just run the damn ball. And it worked against the bad Mississippi State team. The reality of the situation is it's like Daniel Jones with Jalen Milroe. He just does not see the field effectively. He does not make decisions quickly enough. And with a bad offensive line, that leads to sacks. It leads to turnovers. It is a very slippery slope. I am leaning Texas A&M in this game. And I think Texas A&M is going to win this game because of what we saw last week and the way that they played against a similar style team. One that gets your quarterback and your running back involved heavily in the
quarterback and KJ, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
KJ is a much better passer than Jalen Milroe is. Now Alabama has better receivers than Arkansas does.
Do they?
By a slight margin. Okay. My point here is if they were able to be that disruptive, that front seven of Shamar Turner, Walter Nolan, McKinley Jackson, my brain completely shut down for a second. If all of those guys were as disruptive as they were against a similar style offense, I'm telling you right now that it is going to be a very long day for Tommy Rees and that kindergarten offense that they're calling.
Joe, I think that if you're running an advanced calculus course in college offense, that it would still not bode well for Alabama because of personnel, right? That defensive line for A&M is something ridiculous, dude. Like I told you, we talked about this in the offseason, right? And the one thing that I continue to bang on the table about, and I know that we had a lot of discussions, brother, I told you this D-line was going to be something serious. They potentially, in my opinion, had 3 dudes that can make the argument for being first-round picks. If Walter Nolan or McKinley Jackson both went in the first round, you'd be like, okay. Even if it's a late of round 1, you'd be like, all right, makes sense. They were highly disruptive in college. But I don't know how much I trust Jimbo either. Now, let me throw a very crazy question your way. You ready?
Okay.
What team, if either one of these teams loses, the meltdown's going to be massive on both sides. Oh, no. Jimbo is the same old Jimbo. He can't get over the hump. If Alabama loses, there's going to be people in Tuscaloosa asking if Nick needs to hang it up. So who do you want more? Do you want the meltdown in Aggie land, which I tend to lean with because of it? But, man, I got to tell you, I've seen the meltdown in Aggie land before. I know how that gets around Jimbo. I want something new. I want the people of Tuscaloosa for them to have to say Nick Saban should hang it up. Do you know how nuts that would be? That man has won you 5 national championships, and you're going to sit here and tell him to hang it up. Shut your damn mouth.
Well, see, you're bringing up a really good angle here. I think that the Texas A&M fans are kind of already checked out. You know, I feel like they're kind of in the well, let me rephrase. They're expecting the worst on a weekly basis. I think that there is a little bit of that expectation that we hope that this works out, but Jimbo has yet to accomplish what we've set out for him and hoped for him. He has come up consistently short. On the other side of things, the Alabama stuff's been slowly building. With already one loss on the season to a former assistant, and then to lose to Jimbo and to that Texas A&M fan base, I'm telling you right now, there will be a meltdown. There absolutely will be a meltdown. It's coming.
Well, I want to see what would happen because, Joe, Saban could go 0 for 12 the next 2 years, and still they have no reason to fire him. None. They don't. I mean, come on, dude. Like,
he wouldn't retire, though. You know, it doesn't mean that he wouldn't decide to retire.
Oh, I'm sure he'd have the discussions in his head or do whatever. But this is what – so there's not anything that I can come out here and say X's and O's wise or why I think Bama could beat A&M. I don't have that formula from what I've seen from them. But you know what I do know? I think Saban's back's up against the wall a little bit on this one. And my man's going to come out swinging. Did you see red-faced Saban on the sidelines last week?
I did. I did see it.
My man, hey, as much as I hate to admit it,
we're back.
Hey, red-faced say Saban is back.
Okay, but pissed off Saban, what does that do to fix
Wins
Jalen
national
Milroe?
titles.
Okay, but not with this team. Not with that offense.
Fair.
I get what you're saying. And
Nick's backs up against the wall, and I think that he's going to throw out every stop that he can think of to win this one.
From a matchup-based perspective, I just don't see a way that Alabama has enough of an edge for them to come out with the win in this game. I see such a significant advantage because both teams have good defenses. One defense is better than the other. Alabama's defense is better than the other. But I feel like Texas A&M can cook up a drive or two to put some scores on the board when they need to. I trust Max Johnson more than I trust Jalen Milroe. And I know that's kind of a crazy thing to say, but Jalen Milroe is yet to show me in a high-pressure situation when the game is on the line for him to make important plays. I'm yet to see him do that. Max Johnson has experience starting for multiple seasons at multiple programs. And if he hadn't have already transferred once, I'm sure he'd be somewhere else starting right now at another program, maybe in the Big 10 or the Big 12. He's stuck where he is, and he's taking advantage of the opportunity. He didn't look great against Arkansas, which is why I have a little bit of pause. But I just don't see what Alabama has that is going to give them an advantage outside of a good defense that has been carrying them so much.
Do you agree with this?
I don't.
For everyone on the podcast, it says Ruffino has the faces and voice of the WWE. If you smell,
I disagree.
Okay,
I don't see it.
All right, my last thought on this is simple. I'm with you. I'm taking A&M because of what I've seen on the field. I have high disregard for that pick, though. Like, I know that we have picks. I know that we always want to be right on these picks. Mm-hmm. If Alabama wins, I will be the least shocked person in the country because I should have known better, right? Like, I feel like if everybody picks A&M and Bama wins, we should have known better. But logically, like if we're just thinking logically with our brains, two dudes that know football, there's nothing that Alabama does that should stop A&M. Now, I do think defensively they can get after Max Johnson, and I think that this game is not going to – if this game got in the 20s, like if it was 27-20, 27-24, that's going to be your final. It's not. Yeah. There's no way that either one of these offenses, in my opinion, can score over 30. And for that reason alone, and because Alabama plays the style offensively of what A&M needs to rotate guys in and out, have a fresher defensive line, it will bode well for them. I think Max Johnson gets a couple of touchdowns. I think the running game from A&M late in the game is going to get going. They're going to really make a push there late with Moss and others. Give me the A&M Aggies, I think, by 3, Joe. Give me 27-24 would be my final. You got a prediction on the game? Score?
I don't have a score prediction, but I do think that this is going to be low scoring. And we saw an iteration of this game last year when Jalen Milroe had to step in for an injured Bryce Young and
threw 3 picks or had 3 turnovers, had a fumble and 2 picks.
Was Haynes King the starting quarterback?
Haynes King.
He started that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have an actual competent quarterback who can throw the ball a little bit better.
Haynes King.
I think.
Which, by the way, man, Haynes King hadn't been too bad at Georgia Tech. Him and his goofy wind up have been good.
They lost to Bowling Green last week.
He didn't lose to Bowling Green.
They lost to Bowling Green last week. We're not talking about Georgia Tech ever.
Let me ask you this question, because we were talking about this with Jaden Daniels last week. I just have one question for you. Is wins and losses a quarterback stat to you?
No, it's not.
Okay. So then why are you getting on Haynes King and Jaden Daniels?
But this is why I get so frustrated arguing with you, because the whole Stetson Bennett thing was like me arguing that it's a team victory, and then all of a sudden it's a Stetson Bennett victory. That's where it doesn't make sense, because you normally lean on that side. But then all of a sudden, when it's for Jaden Daniels and his Heisman hopes,
I was leaving for Stetson Bennett.
That was your argument.
No, it wasn't.
That was your yes, it was.
You said he was trash, and I said that there's
a
difference.
I said he's not one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That was what my argument was. I said he was a good college player. Never once said he's trash.
Man, you got to put. He's won 2 natties.
He didn't. This was the argument. He didn't win 2 natties. Georgia won 2 natties, and he was the starting quarterback
that won 2. He was the starting quarterback for a team that won 2 national titles back to back.
That's my whole point.
Okay, so I mean, he's got to be up there. And by the way, I mean, the defense for Georgia against Ohio State really laid a turd.
He didn't.
Stetson Bennett led him to a victory.
Move on to the next game. Move on to the next game. I'm not doing this with you.
Kentucky and the Georgia Bulldogs. Joe, I got to tell you, I know that personally, I think that this game is not getting talked about enough because people don't really know what they know about Georgia and they don't really know what they know about Kentucky.
Right.
But I think that this is going to be a bigger game for other reasons. I think Georgia's about to smack that ass. Bad baby, all over the field. You know why? I've seen, I have a question for you. Speaking about quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
How good was your quarterback last year that was in Kentucky? Because Devin Leary can't get nothing going with this offense.
No, they threw the ball like 7 times or something. And this was one of the things I wanted to bring up and talk about.
Devin Leary's looks so bad.
And he's getting propped up a little bit. There's been some. Again, it's one of those instances where it's a lot of box score scouting, but I watched some of the throws that he had against Florida. He didn't do anything to help them win this game. It was all Ray Davis.
Awful, dude. They were all. He looked. Joe, he threw a quick slant. I watched the entire game. He threw a quick slant, and it was at the dude's feet, and I'm like, what?
That was the one play that's been stuck in my head. Is that one? And then he had another throw that was very similar to that
fade route. They ran an inside.
Yes.
They ran an inside fade. And, dude, he underthrew it by like 15 yards.
Yeah, I don't really get this love for Devin Leary. He has the last game against Florida, he was 9 for 19 for a 1 touchdown for 69 yards. He hasn't gone over. He went over 315 against Akron. That's it. That's the extent of it.
Hey, my Meemaw Jewel. Meemaw. Me and Josh Pate both have Meemaws. That's my Meemaw. She could throw for 300 yards against Akron.
Right.
Okay. I think that this game is going to be different because I think Georgia gets it rolling, brother. What I saw from Carson Beck in the second half of last week, I really like the kid. I think the kid can really play. The reason, though, that I think that this is going to be tough for Kentucky, if Devin Leary cannot throw the ball on Florida, that secondary for Georgia is going to eat him alive. I don't think that Ray Davis is going to have a massive game. I really don't. I think that front seven is going to get after him. This game has got to be a 17-14 type game for Kentucky to win. I don't think they can score more than 17 points. I really don't. I don't know how many times they can even get in the red zone. The best team that they had 3 years ago with Will Levis and that I think it was 3 years ago. I think they finished second in the East. That team got to the red zone, I think, twice, and it took every bit of energy that they had to get down there. Every bit. And they missed both times. I don't think that they have the personnel. Now, I will tell you, there's a kid from Kentucky named Witherspoon, the corner. Remember how last year I told you about Emmanuel Forbes, and Emmanuel Forbes would go and be a first-round pick, even though you said he wouldn't. And by the way, he's lighting up the league. It could be the defensive rookie player of the year.
No, Devin Witherspoon's going to win that.
He's got 4 picks. He leads in every statistical category. He leads in every statistical category.
We both watched that Monday Night Football game, but continue.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
He had a pick 6. He's had multiple picks. He's had multiple crazy plays. Sorry. Continue.
Well, there's another Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is at Kentucky. He might be the best cover corner in the SEC. He might be I think he said multiple pick 6s himself. If Carson Beck is not careful with Kentucky defensively, he might have a bad day too, which could keep this game close. It makes it very interesting. Everybody keeps telling me about Ray Davis. I love Ray Davis. Joe, I put him in my Heisman watch list that we did on Monday. I don't think he gets it going like that. I don't think he can run on this team like that.
So I think you've highlighted this really well. This game is being painted, as you've said, by some as an opportunity for Kentucky to upset Georgia, and I don't see that at all. I think that for a Georgia team that has been trying to find their footing and their identity, this is a way to re-announce themselves to the world. Stop doubting us. We remember last year when we really took seriously the Tennessee-Georgia game is going to be a close battle, and they whooped Tennessee. And I think that not similar to that game, but a similar circumstance where we're going to be reminded today or on Saturday who they are exactly. Kentucky is just Ray Davis. The rest of their team is just a bunch of guys. They can't throw the ball that well or consistently, and they dominated Florida running the ball, which was a huge accomplishment, but it felt like that they were doing that out of necessity. It felt like they were doing that because they just had to keep going to him, and it was working. Not because it's one of the best rushing attacks in college football. It was because they just had to keep going to it, and it happened to result in a historic day by Ray Davis. I think for Georgia, defensively, we're going to be reminded what they are and how freaking good they are. You're talking about Kentucky's corners. I think that Bullard and Dalen Everett are two of the best corners in the country. And I think that Dalen Everett continues to show me he is a really good player. They're not going.
Starks is a dude too, man. Starks can come down in that nickel and you're in trouble.
If they're struggling, Kentucky's struggling to throw the ball against Florida, they're not going to move the ball through the air against this Georgia team. It could be one of those games where first drive, Ray Davis has a couple nice runs. They score a touchdown. Georgia's like, all right, we figured out what they're doing. And then it ends up being like 30-7. I feel like it's more likely for that to happen.
Can I tell you something that I don't know if you're going to agree with, but this is just my thought.
Okay.
I just have this rolling around in my brain. God, I have so much more respect for Will Levis.
I mean, he was they're
running two-man routes. They're doing the same thing that they did with him last year. They are not giving Leary – I get what you're saying on Leary, but they're not giving him enough options to actually be good worth a shit. I think it took everything for Will Levis to get to that 62% completion percentage. You know, like
I still think that Levis.
No, I'm not talking about as a prospect. I'm not talking about as a prospect. Get him being a prospect out of your mind for just a minute. If we're just talking about a college quarterback, like, bro, you see how anemic they are in the pass game right now, and they they got better receivers than they did a year ago.
Is Hairston the kid you're talking about?
What did I say? What did
Witherspoon.
I say?
Witherspoon.
Yeah, you kept saying Witherspoon. Hairston.
You said Witherspoon.
Dredge, number 31.
Yes, it's, Maxwell Hairston.
Maxwell Hairston, yeah. Him.
Okay.
Why did I say Witherspoon? Because you said Witherspoon.
Because Devin Witherspoon's that good, and you got him stuck in your head. That's why.
Well, I was about to say, and you were like, well, Witherspoon. That's probably why I said. But yes, Hairston, 31. He had a pick six against Vandy. And I know it's Vandy, but AJ Swan's not a dud of a quarterback. He's not a dude. Like, he can be a dude. If by the way, hey, hold on. By the way, I heard something. Remember on the 4th of October, AJ Swan might hit the portal. And I know a team that's going to be after him.
Oh, remind me after, by the way. I have really even more annoying trade news that I heard. I'm going to tell you later. Or not trade, transfer. I said trade, transfer portal news. I'm going to tell you later. It can't be public, but.
Well, you heard about Audric Estime.
He's not leaving. Why would you?
He said he wanted to play for Brian Kelly.
Shut up. You stink.
Joe, I'm not lying.
You're making that up.
He said that he's tired of Marcus Freeman.
He has put up. Shut up. I'm not entertaining this. Shut up. Look, We're in agreement here.
All right, go ahead.
What? No, I'm just going to say that we're in agreement here that this on paper looks like a ranked on ranked battle between two good SEC teams, when in reality, one is a lot better than the other, and it's a get right week for Georgia.
I agree. And look, Georgia's getting a little healthier too. We saw Lad Mahonky there last week. Yes, I call him Mahonky. They're getting a little healthier. And I do think, look, man, I like Carson Beck a lot. I think that he is a better overall. He has better. Here's something that you're going to be really happy that I said. He has better overall traits than Stetson ever could have. And you know what's crazy, man? If you look at side by all the Georgia quarterbacks of the past, he looks like a lot of them. And like he could be a solid, more athletic Aaron Murray. And if he's Aaron Murray with that defense, they're going to win a national title. They're going to win a national title if that happens. So
he's very, very physically gifted. And I think that for all of the things that have gone on, new offensive coordinator, injured offensive line, which actually their offensive line hasn't been as bad as some people have painted it to be. They're just a lot of young players.
And they've had injuries along that offensive line.
They're actually, despite those injuries, they're actually 13th in sacks allowed and 24th in tackles for loss allowed. They're actually not playing as bad as some people are describing them. I think it's that running back issue, the receiver issues, all that stuff. You get to me every single show. So let's not act like that. This show should be renamed, instead of Ruffino and Joe show, the Ruffino gets to Joe show. That's what we should call it.
Do I really make you that mad?
Go pull up the Heisman segment from last week. I was so mad after that Heisman segment that I went up and researched RG3 so that I texted you.
Dude, by the way, so let's tell the public. My dude was like texting me at like 10 p.m. You were pissed.
I told you I like good debate. I wasn't actually pissed. I wasn't like, I'll never talk to Blake again. It's never that.
This is what I heard. Can I tell you what I heard?
What?
I heard that after our show, you were supposed to go have dinner with your girlfriend, and you were so pissed and you wanted to win the debate that you told her, I'm not going anywhere, and you were researching. You were typing your little
No. It's a show taping day. There are no dates on show taping day, so that doesn't happen. I will say, last tidbit, and then we'll get to the next game. Okay. On Saturday, when Notre Dame was losing to Duke, I was in my apartment. I was supposed to leave and go hang out with her, and I sat and stewed in my apartment. And if they lost, I told her, if they lose, I'm not coming over. She's an indoctrinated Notre Dame fan, so she kind of understands why I was upset, but they won. So I ended up hanging out with her.
Not winning this week. LSU, Missouri. So look, I'm not going to say a whole hell of a lot on this because I get called out a lot on this show about being a little too biased. So I'm going to let you have it. But I will say this, and I'm going to say it again. Missouri was my team, my second team in the East, Joe. They were my second team in the East. And remember, I got absolutely abused by people for picking Missouri because I said I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Now, I did say that if this didn't happen, I'm just overthinking it. Well, they're 5-0 with a chance to go 6-0. I just can't pick I think LSU is still more talented. I do.
Okay, so here are my thoughts on the game. And I know that this might set you off. And this is actually also probably going to set off some of our Missouri listeners because we actually have a decently sized Missouri listenership. Are we going to
set it off in this mother like our name is Little Boosie?
All right, settle down.
Okay.
What I was going to say is I'm picking Missouri. I think that because of all of the defensive deficiencies that LSU has shown on film, this is a nightmare matchup to show up.
I agree.
To have to play after everything you just went through. It's not like you're showing up to play Southern or Grambling or Akron or somebody that is a get-right game to figure out your problems, and then you play Missouri. You just gave up an embarrassing amount of yards and points to a team that has less weapons than the team that you're about to play. But I have some pause, and I'm not going to sit here and bang the table and say Missouri is a guaranteed lock to win. I wanted to. I wanted to spark some ire in you because you've done this to me the whole season with Notre Dame. Missouri hasn't played anyone. Missouri's beaten Kansas State, and there was a very respectable win. Wait.
But I've picked them every week.
Wait. Missouri has a respectable win against Kansas State, and since then, they have not really beaten anyone. So I don't know how legit this Missouri team is. I think on paper it makes sense. Luther Burden, Brady Cook are in a really good rhythm. The rest of those receivers and the running back room has been hot lately. Everything has been trending in the right direction for Missouri. But I have this very bad feeling that they're going to show up in this game. Their second straight road game that they're playing, right? This is at LSU.
No, this is at Como.
Wait, so LSU has 3 straight away games?
No, 2. By the way, that's why
I'm confused.
So think about this. This is another reason why I pick A&M. Stay with me. Did you know in the last 20 years in college football?
Well, that was why I thought this, because you bring this up often, and it's a very good stat.
Yeah, no team besides 2019 LSU and 2022 Georgia has won back-to-back road games. LSU just went on the road to Ole Miss and go on the road to Como. Historically speaking, you normally you lose the first one unless you play a ranked opponent, Bama, in the second one.
Okay.
No team, here's another stat for LSU. No team, okay, in the SEC has played 3 straight ranked opponents ever in September in conference. It's never happened. So there are some things like why I'm picking A&M, because how hard it is to go on the road back-to-back weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But for Missouri, though, Joe, their secondary has not seen this.
No. That's my point here.
Ken Seals last week, I don't know if you watched Vandy versus Mizzou, but I
actually did.
Ken Seals was lighting them up. And all I continue to say during that game was, what in the good googly moogly is Jane Daniels going to do?
That's what I'm getting at here. My gut pick here is Missouri, and I love Luther Burden. He's my favorite player in the SEC. He's the best receiver in the SEC. But Malik Neighbors, okay. But Luther Burden is great. It's very, very explosive.
Fantastic. Weiss, the Weiss kid is really good.
Yes.
You know who he reminds me of? Do you remember? You know Josh Reynolds that plays for the Lions?
Yes, for the Lions. Yeah, he does.
They remind me a lot of one another.
But what you're saying here, why I'm not fully committed to this, why I'm not 100% going to bang the table for Missouri this week, is because they have not been tested by a quarterback this good. The best quarterback they've played is Will Howard. He's very mediocre. And they have not seen any receivers this good.
They're mid.
This could be dangerous.
They're mid, like not LSU's receivers, the receivers they faced. Bro, they were trading blows with Memphis 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. They're not exactly a team that's winning defiantly. They're not. Right. This is why this is such a weird game to pick, why I'm getting at this, because Missouri hasn't shown up and beat the crap out of anyone except maybe the Vanderbilt game because they won 38-21. But Middle Tennessee State was close. Kansas State was close. Memphis was close. They're not exactly winning with a lot of confidence.
Can I show you this too?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to reiterate my point is that their offense is really good right now.
Look at this.
Yeah, you showed me this.
So
I'd rather get called for being offsides than this.
Well, let me tell you what they're trying to do here. Kansas City runs this as well, where Matt House was at when they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
That works when you have Chris Jones. That doesn't work in college.
Bingo. Okay, well, thank you for taking my take, asshole. Okay. But they want to catch blocks, so this is what they're trying to do. But look at Harold Perkins at the top of the screen. I mean, the bottom of the screen.
Yeah,
that'd be the top of the screen. Sorry. The top of the screen. what I thought was Harold Perkins. Guess who that's not?
Who is it?
That's Braden Swinson. They took Harold Perkins out. So they are doing, like, I don't understand, Joe, what they're trying to do here. The guy in the middle, like at the top of the first S, is a safety. It's a safety.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what Matt House is trying to do here. Now, look at this. Look at this. This was them last year against Alabama. They ran the same thing. But the problem was is that they had linebackers that could really run last year. They don't have that this year, or they have inexperience there. LSU is a more talented football team, Joe. They're more talented even defensively. They have more talent. But that because I don't think that Missouri's defensive line, that is the best unit for them defensively, LSU arguably has the best offensive line in the SEC. Like, they are just dominating.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
They are dominating everybody. I mean, literally the entire look at Logan Diggs. Now, you watch Logan Diggs a lot at Notre Dame. Bro, have you seen Logan Diggs look like that?
No, because he didn't get that many touches at Notre Dame because Audric Estime is better than him. But he's looked fantastic.
No, he's not. He's not a better all-around back. Estime can't catch like that.
I don't disagree with that.
What they're doing with Diggs in the passing game, you cannot disagree with that.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
All-around back.
But to your point, yes, the offensive line has had a very easy time paving lanes.
Very easy. Even more than Notre Dame's a year ago. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if we're like, that's not a shot. I mean, you know how I feel about that offensive line at Notre Dame. They are a lot comparable. Oh, a potential first 5 pick at left tackle, Will Campbell and Joe Alt. Okay. Multiple really good interior guards and a right tackle that probably should play guard and is going to be in the league too.
Who's what year is Will Campbell?
Sophomore.
Okay.
But you know what's interesting? The same exact offensive line, basically, for Notre Dame is exactly LSU and Notre Dame's offensive line, when you look at how they were built, is almost identical.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a formula, and it's worked. I had something sent to me because we're Phil Simms and Matt Simms are doing a show with Believe now, and I work very closely with Matt for anyone who follows the other show that do the first team. And the quote that was said by Phil was really, really good point, that fast teams get slower, but big teams don't get smaller. So when you got a big, meaty offensive line that can really grind you out. That can really grind you out, that is more sustainable in the long term than it is for having a bunch of fast receivers, because those guys get tired. Those guys get banged up. I just think it's a really interesting.
What do you think the offensive line does? You think we just sit there and play patty cake all day?
Okay.
You got to catch 8 passes.
You're more physically built and more physically, mentally tougher to endure that.
All right. So here's the truth. Offense and defensive linemen are built tougher, and they're tougher human beings than any receiver any day of the week.
Chris, just wait until the
guys that can grind.
Just wait until the combine, man. Oh my God, got big meaty guys in their underwear. Even better for me.
You say some very Paul's-worthy things.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna hide behind that.
Let's talk about our good friends over at Home Field Apparel. Me and Joe are gonna give our picks. We do that next. Stay with us.
Ruffino and Joe Show is brought to you by Home Field Apparel, which is the best, without a doubt, premium collegiate apparel brand that is out there. They have over 150 different colleges that you can choose from, whether you're an Illinois fan or a Rutgers fan, maybe you're an LSU fan like Blake, or maybe you're an Alabama fan, whatever it is, even Idaho. They have so many different designs for so many different football programs that I can guarantee you're going to find some great stuff to help root for your favorite team. I've already gotten my Notre Dame stuff. Blake has his LSU stuff. Make sure you head on over to homefieldapparel.com to check out your team's collection of clothing apparel that they have on the website. And when you do so, when you check out, make sure you use promo code Ruffino Joe to get 15% off your order. That is RUFFINO, Ruffino Joe. Head on over to homefieldapparel.com and get your college gear today.
I keep doing that today. I just keep doing that today. I try to turn it down.
Board's not your friend.
All right, so here are the games that we are picking from here today. I'll read them out very quickly for those that are listening to us on the podcast. Texas and Oklahoma, Texas A&M and Alabama, Georgia and Kentucky, and LSU and Mizzou. Basically the games that we've already broken down. But here are the 4 new ones. Wazoo and UCLA, UNC, I should say, and Syracuse, Louisville and the Fighting Joe DeLeones, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. Joe, let's start off with the 4 that we have already talked about. We both agree on Texas, we both agree on A&M, and we both agree on Georgia. Since we just talked about those right there and LSU and Mizzou, we just got done talking about, just to reiterate something on Texas here, Joe, I got to tell you, man, a lot of people are expecting Oklahoma to get their shit punched in, and I'm just telling you, I don't think it's going to happen, man. I don't think it's going to happen. Give me the Sooners plus 6.5.
But you're still picking Texas.
That went out right, yes, because and here's the only reason. Can I tell you? The only reason is because I had not seen Oklahoma test it, and the one time I did, they didn't show me enough, right? If Texas had not played Alabama or anybody in the beginning of the season, I'd say the same about them if their schedules were flipped. But buddy, I like Oklahoma. I like these are one of the kinds of things that I text you on Saturday morning at 6:00 and says, "Screw it, give me the Sooners."
I swear to God, if you do that again to me. But I found it really funny. Some people were commenting on the Texas Oklahoma preview we did. I'm like, why did you guys title this "Why Texas is going to win"? You talked about why Oklahoma is going to win the whole time. It's funny. We think that there's a path for Oklahoma to win, which a lot of people are discounting this week, but I'm still going with Texas. I just think that more athletes, they beat the hell out of them last year with some deficiencies on their roster, and I think that they've cleared some of those holes. So I think the Longhorns are going to win.
Anything else on A&M, Bama, Georgia, Kentucky, or LSU and Mizzou?
No, I think that those are pretty self-explanatory. A&M, we talked about. Georgia should be a lock, and then LSU, Mizzou. I just think that that's a tough situation to deal with everything that's been going on with defensively.
Now, I will see if you can see on the graphic here. I've climbed up. I'm only 1 behind you, Joe. I was 7 last week. 1 good week. So, all right. Wazoo and UCLA. We're both going with Wazoo. What says you on why you're going with Wazoo?
The funny thing is that for some reason, UCLA is a favorite in this game.
Yeah. You want to know why? Can I tell you why? I really believe. So this game really kind of just startled me. I think that they believe UCLA is about to run all over Wazoo. I really think that Vegas thinks that that's going to happen.
Not give me Washington State. This is going to be another resume building win. Give me the boys.
How is it a resume building win? They're not even ranked. Stop. UCLA's
it's a good Pac-12 team and a good year where the Pac-12 is competitive.
Who wins right now? Arkansas or UCLA?
UCLA.
Arkansas
stinks. Arkansas stinks. We both watched that Texas A&M Arkansas game. They stink.
Okay.
What does Arkansas do well enough to shut down UCLA? UCLA had one bad game
it's funny because you picked them over Ole Miss.
All right.
So why don't you explain why Arkansas sucks so much?
Okay, I need a pick to reestablish my lead. So we have all too many similar picks, and I think that one's more of a toss-up than some consider. Sam Pittman is fighting for his life. They need that win. I think that's going to be a shocking one.
By the way, did you hear Sam Pittman's interview when he said that his punter or somebody was upset about, social media. And he said, well, did they talk about my weight? And the player said, yeah. He goes, did they talk about my titties? And the player said, yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
It was great. Look, if there is a coach in the SEC I'd love to have a beer with, Sam Pittman would be close to the top.
He seems like a good time. It's why it sucks that he's probably going to get fired. I'm like, it sucks that it's going to happen.
All right, so here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who is a coach that you think that would be the worst time to have a beer with in college football?
Okay. Actually, I almost said, you know what? The obvious one, Sark. Are you kidding me? That one's easy, Sark, because we know that he's got a track record of not being.
He then might make him fun.
I don't know. I think he's one of those problematic guys you take out to get a drink, and then he's just, his shirt's off, and an hour later, and you're like, okay, we got to go home, Sark.
Can I tell you mine? I have two.
Who?
Harbaugh is number one.
Yeah, he's going to start talking about.
Harbaugh would say, "Can you? I don't want a beer. Can you give me a glass of milk?"
I don't think he's like that, but
milk back there.
He seems like a craft beer kind of guy. Like he's like he's like, I need to try a very specific craft IPA. Yeah. Who's the other one?
I gotta tell you, Billy Napier seems like a dud.
Yeah. I can see that one.
I can see that one. Bro, you look like a youth minister the way that you cut your hair. Y'all have youth ministers in Georgia? I mean, in Jersey?
I guess. I don't know. I wasn't super religious growing up. It's New Jersey. It's not the South.
It's true.
We're a bunch of heathens.
Hey, you know what's funny? That damn alarm went off today, and the government sent out a massive alarm. And you know what all you people out west and all you northerners did?
We're getting raptured.
Well, we got the South, bitch. Okay? That's what all of y'all did.
Uh-huh.
You were like, oh, is so-and-so invading? Well, you know what? We got the rednecks.
No one's invading.
All right.
All right.
See y'all soon, guys. Peace.